Adrian Muhammad here. Hello.
Hello.
And again, thank you very much for accepting.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. So the first question is, when was the first time you came to Turkey?
I think it was 1986, which is a long time ago, and I've been coming on and off ever since.
Okay. And since then, what changes have you seen in terms of teaching English here in
There's
Turkey?
just an increasing kind of hunger to do it better and better, and some of the newer schools and universities and colleges are so extraordinary, and the standards are really, really high. And if you can think, we're talking now of 26 years or something that I've been coming to this country. A whole lot of educational institutions didn't exist 26 years ago,
Right.
which are now successful big universities and successful schools. And I find, of all the countries in the world I know, this is the hungriest for sort of educational progress and change. It's quite extraordinary.
Right. Good to hear. So, and what do you think about Turkish English teachers? So far,
It's very difficult to talk
yeah.
in generalities, because of course
Right.
the Turkish teachers that I know and meet
Yeah, the
are
ones
largely the ones who come to workshops and come to conferences, or whose schools I have the privilege of visiting. But it's just such a tiny proportion of all the teachers of English in Turkey.
All right.
But if you ask me what do I think of the teachers that I meet,
Yeah.
then there's a professionalism and a commitment which is awe-inspiring. Some of the presentations I go to by Turkish teachers are quite fantastic. And there's just, I'd go back to what I said in answer to your last question. There's a sort of energy and a desire for progress and a passion for progress, which is awe-inspiring. It's wonderful.
Good. So if we can get a little bit personal, how did you start writing ELT materials?
In the way that so many other people do, which is that I was teaching at a school in the UK.
Right.
I was teaching at a school in the UK, and a colleague and I, we were teaching advanced English, and we couldn't. There wasn't any material that we liked.
Really?
I was much younger then and very full of myself, and there was nothing we liked, and so we said, well, we'll design our own material, we'll create our own material, and so we started writing our own lesson plans. Nothing more or less than that, really. And then we had a reading class, so we had to find things for them to read, so we chose things for them to read, and we worked with the students and got their opinion, and so we put together a whole lot of material.
Right.
And the next thing we knew, some publisher got to hear about it and said, could they have a look at the material? And we said yes, of course. And that was the beginning.
And where do you keep on getting the inspiration for writing your ELT materials?
In my case, from teachers, I spend my whole life with teachers, talking about teachers and working with teachers. I spend a lot of my life traveling around the world, interviewing teachers. You saw in the talk you just watched, I use a lot of film teacher interviews in my talks. That's where I get my inspiration. Now, this morning I watched a presentation where the teacher was using her students to show us what they did. And of course, the moment you come into contact with students, you can get inspiration too, if you're open for it, if you're ready for it, and if you're not feeling tired and fed up.
Right. And the last question, I asked the same question to Mr. Luke as well. How do you feel for a talk, or how do you get ready for a talk?
Well, I really like giving talks. It's really
Right.
good fun. I love it when we're all having a good time together. In my talk, I just mentioned Jan Blake and the idea of making
Right.
a contract. And it is like that. It's like if you're giving a talk and the audience wants to hear you, and you're interacting together. It's one of the great feelings in the world. But before the talk, it's a nightmare. You just get. It's about 5 or 10 minutes before you start. All sorts of thoughts run through your head. You think you want your mother mostly. You just want them to look after you. You think you think, I'm sure this talk's all right, but oh no, maybe it isn't. Oh no, nobody's going to like this. Oh, and what if and I'm going to screw up, and I'm going to forget what I'm supposed to. What if the technology doesn't work? And I just get into a terrible state every time.
But you do a great job at that.
It's what happens is. And you mentioned the Charles Dickens
Yeah,
show.
it was a great.
I mean, if you'd seen me about 3 minutes before that started, I nearly ran away, because you just think this could go terribly wrong. Oh my God, it's going to be a disaster, it's going to be a disaster. But there's something about what we do, it's just like teachers walking into class, and what you always say in teacher training is that the big difference between a brand new teacher and an experienced teacher is being able to separate yourself as yourself from yourself as the teacher. No, I haven't said that quite right. But there's me, and there's me as a teacher. And until you can engage the me as a teacher, it's going to be very difficult to become a professional teacher and learn how to reflect and change. And it's like being a presenter. There's me, and then there's me as the presenter, or the Charles Dickens thing, me as the whatever I was doing there. So before the talk starts, you're me, and me, like you, like her, we get nervous about stuff.
Yeah, you do.
And then when the teacher crosses the threshold into the classroom, they kind of morph into me, the teacher, and I morph into me, the students.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you very
great-
much.
it's a great
Thank you
pleasure.
very much. Hope you liked it.